Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradeToLife.com, and in this video we are going to talk about how to get into the state of the wish fulfilled and also how to stay there. Because it is one thing to know some ways that you can use to shift yourself into the state of the wish fulfilled, but what if you slip out of it? What if you realize that, oh, wait a second, actually I start to desire right now, actually I start to feel like lack, or it's not here yet, or I am not my desired version of myself right now. What to do then? So this is exactly what we're going to cover in this video, right? 2 things: how to get into that state, how to get into your preferred identity, self-conception state, into the knowing that it's done, into the wish fulfilled state, and also how to stay there so that your goal manifests and that you're not getting like any hot and cold stuff like from any circumstances around you. Does not have to be in relationships, I mean in general, so that you don't get wavering results but continuously results. Okay, before I jump in, quick side note: if you want to learn more on how to manifest your goals with Neville's teachings and the law of assumption without any fluff or woo or hype, and you just want straight to the point explanations from me, then check out the free masterclass I did. That's the first link in the video description. And also, if you want to work with me because you want to take things to the next level, you want to apply the law for your whole life, for all areas, then you can apply for a free call with me to figure out if we are a good fit to work together. And that's the second link in the video description. And with that, let's jump in and let's talk about this state, right, and how to stay in your preferred and ideal states. Now, I first of all would like to give you some reminders, just some refreshers again, so that we know what we're talking about and that you remember, yeah, like that's the point. That's really important, okay? First of all, really important, there are no requirements. Nothing needs to be solved first. So sometimes people think, and I also did this in the beginning, so it's not a bad thing, but sometimes people think that there are certain requirements that they have to do. They have to study for a long time and then have to go through a long process, and then maybe then they can shift into their desired state, or they have to meditate for years, and then it's possible to feel more empowered, more relaxed, more peaceful, more happy, more loved, more cherished, more wealthy, that there is a certain requirement for that. But realize that there is absolutely no requirement. There's absolutely no need to wait for any circumstances to change, for any external proof, right? You can do this all day, every day, anytime, any place you want, right? Absolutely no requirements. First of all, please acknowledge again that every possible state is at your disposal, right? Remember that every state that you desire is already in existence. It is available for you and it is in existence. 2 important things basically, right? It's at your disposal, which means like there is no requirement. It's not that there is anything that needs to be solved first. It is in existence and it is right here, right now. It's waiting for you to be claimed, to be shifted into, to be occupied, to be made alive. It's not that a state will come and be like, oh yeah, now you are really, really worthy. That's not how it works. You're the operant power, which means your only job is to occupy the states, occupy your wish fulfilled, your desire, and realize it's already done. And then the manifestation, like to manifest it, to basically make it happen, that's not really your job. And by the way, we do not make something happen, because when you imagine it, it already does happen in that moment, right? So also, you're 100% free to choose any state you desire. Don't let anyone tell you that you're only worthy of specific states and this is nothing for you. You should not desire this, and this outcome is also nothing for you. Like, don't listen to that. Like, you're worthy of everything because just of your true nature, and so you can choose whatever state you like, right? Whichever identity you want to be in, whichever self-conceptions that you want to have of yourself. And here's also something, right? Some people then think when they hear the word states, which I'm also going to explain to you again what this means in this video with some quotes, they think that this means they can only be general, but that is wrong in my opinion, because I also have a state for a specific car, or I had a state for like a specific car, or I had a state for like a specific amount of money per month, right? That was my goal that I reached, and now obviously I have bigger goals, but you can be general, but at the same time you can also be really specific about what it is that you really want. So don't let anyone tell you that it only works when you're general. Why? Like, why would your imagination limit that and be general when you are God, when you're the creator, when you're consciousness and you can manifest what you want in your life, then why should you not be general about your goals? This does not make sense. So this is totally possible, right? I manifest a lot of specific things, from people to objects to things on my body to, I don't know, like compliments, fun stuff, restaurants, revised stuff. Like, you can absolutely be specific. That's what I want to tell you with this point, okay? Then also, that's a reminder, right, that you are still not the state. So even if you're occupying a state, if you're identified with a certain type of identity and version of yourself and self-conception that you occupy, remember that you're still occupying it. It's not you, because eventually every state can become limiting. Let's say you shift into the state of earning twice as much money, and then you achieve that, and it's awesome, you're really happy, but then you grow bigger in your faith and you have even bigger goals. Then if you stay limited to that one, then you see it's limiting if your goal is then to maybe double even this amount that you previously doubled. So remember that at some point every state or every identity can become a limit. So realize that it's still something that you occupy, you choose to have your desired experiences, to manifest your goals and your specific desires. But also remember that you are not it, right? You are this true self, like your true nature, which is this I am, the awareness, your consciousness, right? Which is that which is ever present, which is eternal, which is this divine nature that Neville talked about really, really often, right? You and your Father are one. You may also have this physical body, like you experience it as a physical body in this three-dimensional world. However, you are also at the same time this consciousness animating your body, being aware of it, right? This is just some deeper truths that is not really necessary right now to fully get, but still it is a really, really, really important thing that you should understand. I made a video called Who You Really Are. I will link this above right now if you want to go like deeper on that. But in my opinion, that's really important always to first discover that. And then we realize, wow, awesome, we are free, like I am free to choose whichever state I want, and every state is right here, right now. It's not at a distance, it's not removed from you. Like every state is within consciousness, there is no separation, no time to wait for, okay, only when this circumstance happens and then I can feel loved or like more rich or more abundant. That's wrong. And it is available for you at any given time, at any given place, right here, right now, for you, ready to be occupied. Okay, those are the reminders, and now we jump into the video, and now we cover the ways to shift into the state that you prefer, to shift into the state of the wish fulfilled, and then I'm going to show you ways to stay there. And the ways that you can shift into that, I actually covered them on my channel quite often already, because those are like ways, for example, as following the 3 fundamental steps. So knowing what you want, creating a scene that implies you have it, and then you imagine that scene, right? If you want to learn more about that, check out the video that I will link right here where I explain those 3 fundamental steps in more detail. So that is one way to shift your state, but I'm sure you've already heard about this. So it's nothing really new, and those are the ways that you shift your state. So you imagine something that implies that, if you use revision and you revise that you have already been in your desired state already, or that this desire already happened in the past and this is already normal for you, or you say, I remember when XYZ was true for me, but now this is true for me. And now this is my favorite one already, because when you're a little bit experienced in that and you have some like conscious manifestations, you know that the law works, you know that you can occupy any state of consciousness that you want to occupy, and therefore be really self-empowered, because you realize that everything is within you, this whole potential, everything that you could ever be, possibly be is right here, right within you. And when you know this, then you can just start to claim it, to appropriate it, to choose it, to assume it. You just decide that, okay, this is how it is right now. I am right now like this. This is right now true for me. I right now have this. This is right now in my life. Or I get this, right? You can just choose that really boldly. You boldly assert it. You boldly assume it. You boldly claim it. You dare to assume without asking anyone for permission, right? That is also available, and that is, in my opinion, also a very powerful way to shift your state, okay? And you can also ask yourself the question, how would I feel if this would already be true for me, right? A wonderful question to ask yourself, an awesome way Right? How would I feel if this would be true for me? If you want to learn more about those 5 ways, then check out the video that I did on how to manifest your desires, where I go into a little bit more detail on those 5 things. But if you are already a little bit familiar with this, then this is how you shift your state, right? Don't think again that there is a secret strategy out there waiting for you and this is how you shift your state. No, you shift your state just as you do anything else, right? You just decided, like you can literally just decide that this is me right now, that I have this. But if you lack some faith, some experiences, that is absolutely no problem, right? Don't worry about that. If the step 4 is does not resonate with you so far, that's totally fine. Then you can pick from any technique you like. You can imagine something that implies it. You can like visualize, you can hear congratulation. I will link a video here called the congratulation scene, where you use your hearing sense. You can say, I remember when. So those are all ways. And I'm sure you're familiar with them because you watch my channel, you watch my videos. So this is how you shift your state. It is as easy as that. And also what I want to point out is that doubts and fears may arise when you do all of that, or when you try to shift the state and maybe some stuff is coming up, some doubts and fears and worries. But really honestly, like, this is no hindrance. This is no problem. This cannot hold you back. It is okay when it's coming up. I have a really powerful video, in my opinion, called How to Reframe Doubts and Fears. I will link this right now above, where you can learn to deal with the stuff that is coming up while you shift into your preferred internal state that you want to occupy, and therefore that is then externalized in your world, right? It is okay when stuff is coming up. Don't let this hinder you. So those are basically ways you can use to shift your state. And now let's talk how to stay in your preferred state, because this is then when some people trip up. They do those techniques, they are able to shift into that state, but then they wonder, okay, how can I stay there? And one way, the first most important thing, is actually to stay aware, to stay conscious, to remain awake in this like dream of life, and to observe yourself, right? To stay self-observant and to not like become this unconscious being again, and like being hypnotized from what your senses are telling you and being so involved into the shadow world. That is not what we want to do, right? The world of Caesar is great. We can have awesome experiences with that, but you don't want to be too identified and too involved in it. So you have to stay aware. You have to stay awake, right? As you awake in a dream at night, you awake in this game of life, in this dream of life, and you realize, okay, it's like as malleable as a dream, because you can manifest things and your imagination creates reality. So how is there anything set in stone, right? And this is the first really important thing. So you have to stay aware, you have to stay conscious, and then you will notice when you slip out of your state, right? And if you notice that you're not in your preferred state because you observe yourself and you react differently again, or you maybe react when someone says something to you and it triggers you, and you therefore realize that you're not in your preferred state, then first of all, like relax, right? Just take a breath. Don't judge yourself for that. It is okay when you slip out of your state. This happens. It also happened to me, and there's absolutely no problem with that, because this does not mean that then the state is gone, or that you're doing something wrong, that now you can't have your manifestation, or now you have to work really, really hard to come back to the same internal place. Absolutely not, right? This is no problem. So if you notice this, relax, take a deep breath, and just observe that. Become aware of what just happened. And then you just kindly, really smoothly, lovingly, and relaxed, you just choose your desired state again, and then you apply your preferred method, or just decide that, okay, I'm back in it, right? If that resonates with you. Or just go back to the ways to shift into your preferred state that I showed you before, and you just again apply that to shift in it again, and again, and again. And eventually it will become your normal state. Okay, so by now you know the most easiest way to shift into your state, right? If affirmations resonate with you, do them. I'm more a fan of actually imagining something, or using I remember when, using Isn't It Wonderful, using Neville's approaches. Neville never really taught a lot of affirmations, so I'm not even understanding why this is so much taught in this community. Even though I know it's powerful, I know it is helpful, but again, I always say it's not the holy grail, and you should definitely realize that your imagination creates reality. And also here, Doubts and fears may arise, but again, this is no problem. This cannot hinder you. This may happen, but that's okay, right? Don't get tripped up on this. And you are God. You are the creator. You are the operant power, experiencing an infinite amount of states in this lifetime, right? Right now, you're either in a state of knowing your desires are yours, or you are in a state of not knowing it is yours. Either way, both states are equally valid, and one is no more hard or easy to shift into. That is a key point, right? That is a key point, right? The state of knowing that you have your desire, that it's done, that you are already having that or being that which you want to be, and also the state of not knowing that, those are like equally valid. And it's not harder to be in this state of not having it than to be in the state of having it, right? It is your decision. It is your job to occupy whichever state you want. So don't play the victim and say, oh, this is so hard. I don't know how to get in this. You do know. The question is, do you apply it and do you follow the steps, right? But it's no harder, like no state is any harder or easier to shift into. That those are all equally valid. It may take a little bit more experience or practice to shift into certain states if they seem to be far away from who you are and what you are experiencing right now, but it does not mean that it's any harder to then do and apply the steps. Know that your consciousness is the only reality, right? Consciousness is the only reality. Everything that you experience in consciousness in your imagination is there eternally. You can over and over again experience that, because you can right now remember and imagine again the vacation that you had, and you can also do this in 10 years. So this is always ever present, eternally there, right? You always experience the effects of what you claim and accept and to be true within that consciousness, within this only reality. And that is then reflected back to you and mirrored back to you in this shadow world, in this world of our senses. Okay? And then you know what you want to be. Then assume the feeling of being that which you want to be and remain faithful to your assumption, living and acting on your conviction. Okay? So you know what you want, and then you assume that you have it, right? And you can use those steps that I shared with you before to shift into that state. Do not be concerned as to how, when, or where. Only the end, right? Only focus on the end. Don't focus on the how. I also have a video how to not worry about the how, so you can also check this out. If I have not linked already 5 videos before, then you will find the link right here for this, because you can only link 5 videos. So check out the video on my channel about the how. Don't worry about the how, right? Don't be concerned about that. If you are in debt, what is the solution? That you win the lottery, or that an uncle dies and leaves you his fortune? No, that is not what you actually want, right? That is not your goal. Supposedly. The end is that you're debt-free. How would you feel if all your bills were paid? Assume that feeling and let imagination harden that feeling into fact. So it's like I'm really amazed how many diamond wisdom pieces are in just this one quote. First of all, not be concerned about how, when, where. Not our job to figure that out, right? We only have to assume the end and imagine that it is already done. What is the real solution? What do you really want, right? If you want to have money, don't imagine that someone gives you $3,000. No, shift into the state of being wealthy, right? You can also manifest someone giving you $3,000, but then maybe you experience yourself again, like losing that or like not feeling wealthy again. So just ask yourself what you really want, okay? And Neville's like suggesting us to go to the real end, which is that we are in that case like debt-free. And so how would you feel if this would be already true, right? How would I feel if I would be already debt-free is a question that you can ask yourself. And then here's the awesome thing. You assume that feeling, you shift into that, you imagine that, and then you let imagination harden that feeling into fact. See that he does not say, then you do this, and then you ask yourself, should I take option A or B, or should I like ask the tea leaves, or look at the numbers, look for signs? No. Right? You assume that feeling, you identify with that state, you occupy that state, you claim it, and then you let imagination harden that into fact, right? So it happens through you, but it's not that you have to really worry about this. This is so amazing. As long as you stay like persistent and in that state, as long as you claim it, as long as you go back to it and make it your dwelling place, then what can go wrong? You are in it. You internally already have it. So feel the relief, feel the relaxation, and don't be so dependent on the outcome and wait around. This is a game changer. How do you occupy a state? For example, by asking yourself how you would feel, what you would see, hear, touch, taste, and smell if your dream were real. And then you experience that in imagination. And that's it, guys. That's it for this video. So I wanted to make this to finally explain to you how to shift into a state. There are many techniques, many ways, and you know all of them if you watch the videos on my channel, and how to stay in that, right? You stay aware, you notice yourself when you slip out of it, and then it's no problem. You just go back into it. And that's it. There is no secret way, no strategy, no hard process to do that. You just have to do it and apply it and be a doer of the word, not only a hearer. You have to apply the law of consciousness, the law of assumption, in order to reap the results and your desires and your goals and experience them being manifested, right? If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I always look forward to see you and interact with you in the comments if you ask good questions or you share good stuff. And yeah, thank you really much for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.